is there a serious portal problem with certain Big 12 schools, namely BYU and Colorado? If you go in and look at the 24/7 transfer portal rankings, you'll find that Texas Tech, Houston, Iowa State, Kansas, those are the four major leaders right now in the portal game. They've gotten in quick. They've jumped on big names. They've grabbed big players. If you look at BYU, Colorado, West Virginia, UCF, they're at the bottom of the barrel in this conference. And I take a time out and I pause to ponder why. BYU has one commit, and he's not ranked. Like, he's not even a 3-star. Colorado has one commit. BYU has 0 commits. West Virginia has 0 commits. And we can go ahead and take the Mountaineers out of this. They just hired a new head coach. They took a long time to do it, and he's only now getting his coordinator set in place and attacking the transfer portal to build his team for next season. But why is Colorado, who's supposed to be this transfer portal machine and has lost a handful, I think it's 6, 7, maybe 8 guys right now to the portal, why does Colorado only have one commitment, and it's a kid that doesn't exist on the internet coming from Louisiana Monroe? BYU, whose basketball team attacked the portal so hard, and who I've heard rumors, hey, join this online fan forum, join this forum, pay this $10 a month, and you can find recruiting news for BYU, transfer portal news, big news coming, but still 0 commits. Here's where I sit with both of these schools in the transfer portal. If you're looking at this thinking, shoot, this isn't good, calm down. Not only are we early in the transfer portal phase, I want to bring something up that I'll bring up the rest of the offseason. Colorado, Deion Sanders, he has had time to become a destination place. Boulder is a destination. He's a destination coach. I know that there are those out there, and I may even pose the question myself later on. Is Deion Sanders' job in limbo? Like, is he considering leaving Colorado? I think the answer is unequivocally no. He's going to stay there. There are many who will ask, so few transfer portal moves. Is that because there's something we're missing here? Is there an opportunity in the NFL? Would he explore it? Do players want to avoid a possible coaching change? I don't believe that's the case. For BYU, you look at the basketball team again and you say, okay, the money's been poured in here. NIL, there's this big focus. We want to win. So why don't they have new guys? It, to me, is very similar for both of these schools. Colorado has given you its culture. Colorado has set its culture to become a destination. BYU has told you its culture. Just signed its head coach to a $1 billion deal for the rest of his life. That's just can be a lifetime guy. Why not? We've seen you win at the highest levels. We've seen you get to the doorstep of a Big 12 championship game. There is going to be, and again, I'll mention this the entire offseason, positive attrition. When I look at BYU's transfers out, like the Jackson Bowers kid was supposed to be a really good tight end. The Crew Wakely kid, he was a contributor, would have loved to known why he exited, but everybody else, okay. I'm not too torn up. For Colorado, what they lost from a production standpoint, I'm not too torn up. There is positive attrition. There will be players in your locker room that can't take it. They can't handle it. The pressure is too much. Like a Tyler Johnson or Dan Hayes. Those are kids who entered the transfer portal a couple of days ago and could have been 4-star players who didn't pan out. I'm very confident that despite the amount, it's 15 now transfers who have, wow, you update that and the number just jumps. 15 players who entered the transfer portal for Colorado. Deion Sanders owns the portal. For BYU, those 6 players, only one I'm really scratching my head on. And the rest, I'd say, chill pill, breather. Everybody's good. You will look at Texas Tech. You will look at even Houston now. You'll look specifically at Kansas. Iowa State landing some big commits already through the transfer portal. I think the addition to be able to go get 4-star Chase Sowell was huge. They grabbed 2 legit wide receivers and brought them to campus. That is going to be a massive piece of them. Xavier Townsend is one of them who is transferring intra-conference. But if you start to compare yourself on December 16th to those universities, you'll spiral into this online chat board dialogue about how, we're not hitting the transfer portal strong enough. We don't have it still. And I want to go back to that word that I mentioned earlier, the word culture. Deion Sanders, though I said all off season long, I'm not sure if he can do it. I don't know if I believe in it. I'm not sure if this is the guy who's going to be able to win at Colorado long term, has said, I'm bringing my bags. Day one, I'm bringing my bags, and they're Louis. And he did, and he lined them up, and he met with the kids, and he said, you're not a good fit for us. I'm sorry, we're moving in a different direction. We'll see you later. Best of luck. And because of what he did, Colorado went 9-3 this season. BYU has always been pretty tight with the transfer portal stuff. They're not a school who's going to grab 15, 20 guys. They went 10-2 this past season after last year going 5-7 and missing a bowl game. They didn't freak out. They didn't press the red button. They didn't say we have to overhaul the entire roster, buy a new offensive line, somehow make this thing work next season with players who didn't play here this year and have college football experience. No. Instead, Kalani Sitake said, if we take our in-house resources, our in-house players, keep the unit together, a short bit of positive attrition with the kids that we don't need, with the kids who aren't contributors do move out, we will be a college football playoff contender. We will be a Big 12 contender, and it worked. Colorado said we need a new offensive line. The focus is offensive line. Last season, maybe that's what I'm getting at. Last season, same deal for Colorado. Kids left. It looked like Deion was possibly losing control. Oh no. How on earth will they survive after all of these kids want to enter the transfer portal and leave? 41 kids left Colorado last year. 43 came in. Do you understand how absurd that is? 15? Far cry from 41. This is an establishment of two head coaches who know what they want at their universities and will stick to that to a T. Does that hurt guys like Mike Gundy or Kyle Whittingham who've had that same approach? Yeah, maybe it will in a couple decades. But as of today, the kids who have left your program, Colorado, BYU, probably needed to, and you're probably better off for it. Is that harsh? Am I being harsh? Like if you're a parent of a kid in the transfer portal who's leaving BYU and you hear that, you're like, oh, well, not my kid. I was in the circumstances. I'm not enough to maybe. But these two programs have shown us they're a machine. They can win based on how the head coach wants to win. If he does it his way, it will work. And for some reason or another, opportunity, culture, fit, if the transfer kid didn't work out, and you know the head coach does work out, this is probably for the better of your favorite college football team. The only area in which I could truly see this backfiring is the off chance that Deion Sanders does leave Colorado. I don't foresee that happening. I do not believe that his exit is imminent as so many predicted. But if that happens, if that occurs, then we will see 45, 50 kids possibly enter the transfer portal. It is I'm going to say something controversial here in a second. It is, to me, a culture run by Deion, not necessarily run by the university. And therein lies the controversial take that I have. Kids aren't playing for the school as much as they are the coach in almost every scenario. Most every kid who plays for the Texas Tech Red Raiders, most every kid, 95% who plays for Colorado, 95% who play for USC, didn't grow up a fan of that school. What got them there was the head coach or the head recruiter or some position coach. They brought them into the fold. That's who they're loyal to. You see it at Marshall. The Marshall coach leaves, his entire roster follows. You were there. Yeah, it's cool to represent the thing across your chest, but at the end of the day, what got you there wasn't that word, that name. Maybe it was the culture in part, but it was the coach you fell in love with. That first piece was, I trust this guy. That's the case for Deion Sanders. For Kalani Sitake, maybe less so because BYU is such a staple institution. But I do not believe that Colorado or BYU are in transfer portal trouble just because of the optics right now. And I do think that if Deion Sanders stays, you're just fine. If he goes, we'll have a much different conversation because I believe many of these kids committed to play for Deion Sanders. But I don't see that. He just showed you he can win. He got close to winning the Big 12 title. I think he comes back and he vies for one next year. I hope so, at least. He gave us a damn Heisman Trophy winner. That's a pretty big deal. Coming up tomorrow, I think TJ Pidner is going to join the show. Whoa! Talk about two guys who know a lot about poppy fun stuff. how to build a title. You know what I'm saying? This has been, it always will be, Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dose Grande.